Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our June community meeting and art show closing event. June is Brain Injury Awareness Month, and this is when we hold our annual art show, highlighting art, poetry, and music from our talented community of artists and community members. We do have some immensely talented artists within our BIS community, and I think that this year at our art show opening, all of our members have demonstrated such incredible talent with music and poetry and art and photography. It truly is an incredible group of people we have here within our BIST family. Their work is on display across Toronto, goodness. And I do encourage you all to take a look in person. We will be showing their work throughout the evening, but it's not the same as seeing it in person. This year, art is on display at Insight Exhale Osteopathy, Simple Coffee, the Office of Dr. Milan Innercart, Courage Cookies, Textile Museum, Horseman Art Supplies, Rehab Lab, Paint Cabin, Boulders, and Zaza's Coverland, Propel Physiotherapy, Crying It Out, Window Box Gallery, and Crystal Opticians. I also want to thank all of those places for hosting our artists' incredible work. So thank you. This evening, we welcome a few of our artists to come and speak and share their work. First, I want to welcome Hillary. Hillary is a very talented poet, as well as an artist and a writer here at BIST. A lot of her blog posts are available on our website if you want to check those out. And her art is up on our website. So I want to welcome Hillary. And the floor is yours.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to start off by reading my piece that's called Hopscotch, Toronto Pride 2019. Should I go alone? My eyes flicker to my laptop screen, 2:04 p.m. It started at 2. Yes, Mom says through the phone. I think you should go. Just pack a bag with everything you need. You'll be fine. I yank my backpack off the coat rack and put Mom on speaker. Water bottle, sunglasses, hat, wallet, keys, protein bars. Do you have your special earpieces? I'm wearing them. You should pack an extra pair just in case. I toss an extra pair into my backpack. Do you have your pain medication? Mom asks. I shake my keychain pill container, unscrew the cap, and dump its contents into my hand. Tylenol and Toradol. What about the seizure medication? Mom asks. Yep, got it. And I'm wearing my medical alert, and I have that identification card in my wallet. I strap my bag on and brush my hair and scan myself in the mirror. You can't even tell I have brain damage, Mom. Mom laughs. Well, that's great, sweetie. Do you know where you're going? I open Google on my laptop and search Toronto Pride 2019. The Toronto Pride Parade returns on Sunday, June 23rd, 2019, to splash the city with every color of the rainbow. The parade begins at 2 p.m. at Church and Bloor Streets and travels south on Yonge Street before ending at Dundas Street West. I write on my arm with a permanent marker, Church, Bloor, Yonge. Got it. Thanks, Mom. I'll send you pictures and text you that I'm alive. I scan myself in the mirror. My rainbow-colored rhythmic gymnastics ribbon dangles from my dresser drawer. I yank the ribbon off and toss the stick onto my bed. I drape the rainbow ribbon around my neck. Okay, sweetie, Mom says through the phone. Have fun. Take lots of pictures and lots of breaks and text us that you're alive. I stumble out of Yonge subway station and onto the street. The parade. My eyes swim in tears. People everywhere. 2 teenage girls run toward the parade, their fingers laced together. Rainbows paint faces, clothes, flags, windows, floats. I run. My feet beat into the pavement. 5 steps and my vision blurs. My ears ring. My body staggers to the left. My feet play hopscotch without me. My heart beats, booms in my ears. My hand finds a lamppost near the sidewalk. I crouch on the curb and my forehead rests on my knee, and I close my eyes and blotchy spots bubble behind my eyelids. White, red, blue, green, white, yellow. I breathe in through my nose and out through my mouth. Whistles, drums, horns, music, screams, cheers. Parade sounds roar in my ears. I adjust my earpieces. I cram them farther into my ears. The parade sounds soften slightly by a few decibels. I swallow pain medication and push sunglasses onto my face. I stand up slow and walk toward the parade. I walk less than a block and I'm there. I squeeze through the crowd and lean against the barricade. I close my eyes. I soak in the energy. Drag queens loop bead necklaces around my neck. I scoop up pride flags and from the ground. I high five every person I make eye contact with. I text pictures of the floats and the crowds and my face to my family. My cousin Isaac texts back, "I'm coming home early. Want to meet at Pride?" He texts me a meetup spot. I look at the street signs above me and the sky spins. I drift down the street, maybe 2 blocks, and sit against a brick wall. 3 marijuana scented hippies sit down next to me. They ask me if I'm okay, if I'm too drunk or too high. I'm completely sober. I can't risk taking drugs or drinking alcohol or doing anything that could potentially make my brain injury worse. It's easier to just tell people I'm high. I can't explain brain damage to anyone. No one believes me. "Yeah, too high," I say to the hippie. The hippie says, "Right on," and gives me a fist bump. I give him one of my bead necklaces. Isaac texts me and asks where I'm at. I tell him that brain damage punched me in the face and I can't get up. I forward my location through iMessage and close my eyes. The hippie asks me what my sexual orientation is. I tell him I'm bi because it's easier to say I'm bi than to explain what pansexual means. Most people have never heard of it. Isaac taps my shoe with his shoe. He slides down the wall next to me. "Why do you have writing all over your arm?" I loop a bead necklace around Isaac's neck. "In case I get lost, Isaac." I pull a mini pride flag out of my bag and tuck it behind Isaac's ear. "Nice shirt." I look down at my new shirt, a white tank top with "Yas" printed on the front. For real, I don't know where it came from. Many ABI victims can appear intoxicated to others who do not understand their behaviors while in pain or experiencing brain fog or sudden memory loss. Obaya offers a brain injury survivor card if requested. This card can be used to communicate with others in public if the individual is experiencing a flare-up of symptoms. This card includes the following information. I may be easily overwhelmed, so it's best to communicate with me in a calm, non-confrontational manner. No 2 brain injuries are alike. Symptoms of brain injury may include poor coordination or balance, slurred speech, confusion, impatience, impaired judgment, difficulty processing, agitation, impulsivity, memory problems, confusion, disorientation, hearing or vision loss, seizure disorder. Please be patient with me. Remember, you are not alone. That's the end of story 1. I have a second story. It's called Pride 2022. Look, Auntie Hillary, she's wearing a rainbow. Isaac, my 9-year-old nephew, tugs at my shirt and points across the street. A young woman wearing a rainbow striped dress waits with her friends at the Dufferin Bloor bus stop. I scoop little Isaac up into my arms. You ain't seen nothing yet, Isaac. I smile and blow a raspberry on his cheek. Isaac giggles and I whisper, there's nothing but rainbows at the Pride Parade. Like how many rainbows? Isaac asks. Millions of rainbows. I squeeze him close and unravel a long rainbow ribbon from my fanny pack and drape it over Isaac's shoulders. There, now you'll blend right in. Isaac slides the slippery ribbon through his fingers. Mom, look! Isaac wriggles his ribbon in the air. Isaac's mom, Kate, smiles and nods and rests her head on her girlfriend's shoulder. Britt wraps her arms around Kate's waist, kisses the top of her head, and smooths out her blue and blonde hair. Kate and Britt and Isaac and I spill out of Bloor Young Station, tangled in a crowd of rainbows. Color explodes from every orifice of the street. Red, blue, purple, orange, yellow, green. Little Isaac wraps his arms around my neck. I clutch him safely in my arms, like a kangaroo cradling a joey in her pouch. We snake through a handful of the hundreds of thousands of people, the ones we didn't know we missed, lost in isolation as prescribed by the global pandemic. I plop little Isaac on the top of a metal gate, far back from the chaos, crunched close to the parade. Isaac balances on the bar and stretches up above the crowd, gripping my shoulders, his head up in the clouds. 200,000 marchers stomp through the streets of downtown Toronto. I heard on Twitter that Pride Toronto expects 1.8 million will attend this Sunday's Pride Parade. We wear matching headphones, Isaac and I. Mine for TBI, Isaac's for ADHD. We communicate through American Sign Language, using signs like I need water, I need food, and I need to pee. Big cousin Isaac texts me saying, I'm here. We look around, wave him over. Isaac drops his bag, his backpack, and pulls a bottle of pastel blue nail polish from his pocket and paints his nails right in the middle of the sidewalk. Little Isaac fans his fingers and says, hey, me too. Couples hold hands and people scale the sides of the scaffolding and perch on the edges of buildings. Their feet dangle below and their flags flutter in the air. A man palms Skittles into his mouth, his eyes fixed on the parade. I feel safe. I feel hopeful. I squeeze little Isaac's hand. This time I'm prepared. I prevent brain damage flare-ups. I'm stronger, and this time I'm not alone. That's the end.
I apologize. I'm having a little bit of tech issues.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Hillary. That was very, very beautiful. At the end, when all of our artists have spoken, I'm thinking if it's okay with everyone, I would like to open up the floor if anybody would like to ask any questions or speak to any of our artists. So we'll do that as well, because I think that some of your work was very impactful, Hillary, judging by the comments in the chat.
Thank you so much for letting me read this. I was at Pride all weekend and I'm paying for it now. I tried to get to the BIS tent. I couldn't do it because I was struggling with spoons and energy, but it was so worth it being able to just be with people again.
Yeah.
Around the people that are like me.
And actually it was kind of nice because you mentioned how many people were expected at the parade. And previously I had stopped going because about 11 years ago, it was so crowded that I could barely navigate. There were so many people, so I stopped going. And I was a little nervous to go because I worked the booth on Sunday. So I was a little bit nervous about that same amount of people and crowds, especially after being on hiatus for a couple of years. And surprisingly, there was still room to move around. It was a beautiful environment. After the parade, people were so accommodating and friendly and fun and happy, and it turned out to be quite an incredible day. I don't know how your experience was, but I found it surprisingly less overwhelming than I had expected it to be.
Yeah,
I'm glad you made it out.
It felt like everyone sort of still had this air of we need to kind of stay apart because COVID is still so fresh in our minds. So it feels like, I don't know, I was scared because I was thinking, how am I going to walk through crowds? But then also if I go inside to a grocery store, I'm supposed to wear a face mask. So it's like I felt like everyone had this energy of respect and mindful that, people need space to move around. And I feel like especially since that happened, people are more aware about disabilities and all the questions that were raised when the pandemic happened and accessibility. So my days I went each day for a few hours and they were all incredible. And I barely remember them. It's all the overstimulation, but I don't regret any of it.
That's lovely. We'll definitely have to talk later on. So, who is up next?
So next, I'm so happy to introduce a very talented singer in our BIST community. He performed at the last few BIST events, and some of you may have heard his incredible performance at our art show opening, kicking off Brain Injury Awareness Month. Here to share some of his music with us is Howard. So I wanted to welcome Howard, and he's going to sing a couple songs for us.
Welcome, Howard. You're muted, so I'm just gonna wait.
Okay, I'm gonna do a Ringo Starr song called "It Don't Come Easy." So maybe talk after that. Thank you. It don't come easy, and you know it don't come easy. It don't come easy, and you know it don't come easy. Got to pay your dues if you wanna sing the blues, but you know it don't come easy. You don't have to shout or leap about, you can even play them easy. Forget about the past and all your sorrow. The future won't last, it will soon be on tomorrow. I don't ask for much, I only give just, but I know it don't come easy. This love of mine keeps growing all the time, and you know it just ain't easy. Open up your heart, let's come together. use a little love, and we will make it work out better. Dun, 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 dun. You got to pay your dues if you wanna sing the blues, and you know it don't come easy. You don't have to shout, only about. You can even play them easy. Please remember, peace is how we make it. Here within your reach, if you're big enough to. Whoops! I think I might have had a technical glitch there. I do have a backup, so let me just
That is okay. We'll wait for you to sort that out.
okay. Yeah,
I feel like it would not be a BIST event without technical difficulties. It's
I think that's where they come up with that expression, break a leg before you're doing a show.
yes.
It never fails. That yeah, it's there. Yeah, you can see the art expression show. My microphone went flying over, and you were helping me out. Just then the sun was coming like right in our eyes, so it was really hard to.
Yes, I remember. It's
really hard to see what's I would really appreciated you helping me, because at that moment I was really having a difficult time, and the one I never forget, I did an audition at the Herringate Farm Theater, and I had this little singing machine back here that broke down. The mic came apart on the tail, and it was kind of everything at once, but it was actually pretty good. So, but
that's fabulous.
yeah,
It's since I'm talking, I might as well turn my video on just for now until you get sorted. But I think that, you know, when you're doing live things, especially events, things are going to go wrong. It's funny because before everybody jumped in, I was talking with Jillian, and I said, you know, let's prepare because something's going to go wrong, and it always does. Hopefully my my videos work today. That's usually that's my signature, is videos don't work. Hopefully we get through that today. But you know, I think it's more how you roll with those difficulties, because you know, you just figure it out. You know, everybody is really fabulous here, and so it's a space where you just, you know, if you can get it done quickly, go for it and jump back in. If you need more time, then we just
we
dump
have a
somebody else
second-
in front.
we
Sorry,
have a second shot here. This is my alternate.
all right, you ready to go?
Ready to go.
All right.
It don't come easy, and you know it don't come easy. It don't come easy, and you know it don't come easy. Got to pay your dues if you wanna sing the blues, but you know it don't come easy. You don't have to shout, only about. You can even play them easy. Forget about the past and all your sorrow. The future won't last. It will soon be up tomorrow. I don't ask for much, I only want trust, but you know it don't come easy. This love of mine keeps growing all the time, and you know it just ain't easy. Open up your heart, let's come together. Use a little love, and we will make it work out better. got to pay your dues if you wanna sing the blues, and you know it don't come easy. You don't have to shout, only about. You can even play them easy. Please remember peace, that's how we make it. Here within your reach, if you're big enough to take it. I don't ask for much, I only want trust, and you know it don't come easy. This love of mine keeps growing all the time, and you know it don't come easy. It don't come easy. You know it don't come easy. Thank you. And are we gonna do a second song? I got it.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, good. Thank you. Is that
You're
okay?
so welcome.
Did you hear that one all right?
Yes.
So this is my favorite. Yeah, one of my favorites is the Beatles, of course. And
Classic.
you remind me of. I took a course in presentations. There was one called Death by PowerPoint, and you know, of course, when you have the video all ready to go, that's when the video doesn't work. And
Yes.
that's what. And it was really good teaching because. You know, it does happen. It's really a common occurrence. So let's see if we can get this queued up here. Yesterday. All my troubles seem so far away. Now it looks as though they're here to stay. Oh, I believe in yesterday. Suddenly, I'm not half the man I used to be. There's a shadow hanging over me. Oh, yesterday came suddenly. Why she had to go, I don't know. She didn't say. I said something wrong, now I know. Oh, yesterday, yesterday. Love was such an easy game to play. Now I need a place to hide away. Oh, I believe in yesterday. Why she had to go, I don't know. She didn't say. I said something wrong, now I know. For yesterday, yesterday. Love was such an easy game to play. Now I need a place to hide away. Yesterday. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Howard. Sorry, I'm just gonna clear my throat. My apologies. That was fabulous.
Great. Thank you.
And I'm seeing a lot of really great comments in the chat. A lot of thanks for sharing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So at this point, I would like to introduce our next speaker. So France is someone who is a talented visual artist. She had some of her work on display earlier this month at our art show opening. And she also has a little something up her sleeve, like I said, that she's going to share with us. France is a longtime member in the wings, we'll say. And we're always so pleased to have her join us at BIST events. So please welcome France.
Thank you so much, Melissa. I'm so glad to be here. This is another like occasion to meet new people and to see some of them that I saw at the opening. So yes, I'm so grateful for this opportunity to showcase our talent. I think it means a lot for me 9 years later in my recovery journey to be able to be at this stage and be able to use the wisdom, the gift that I have that started to emerge at some point, and definitely being an explorative person in my creativity really was very helpful in sense of it was very healing for me to start to explore various ways to be creative. So, and this year, as you mentioned, Melissa, I've been showcased for the Brain Injury Awareness Month in Toronto, and I have just tomorrow I'm going to another opening for an art gallery in Oakville, where I belong as a friend of this gallery. So artists could submit it their art project. We were allowed to have two projects per person, and I submitted 2 of my projects, and they were accepted. So tomorrow is the opening. So it's kind of my dreams are coming true because my desire is to share beauty. Beauty is very important for me in my life, like the external beauty, but also cultivating inner beauty. That's I believe that was the invitation for me when I had a brain injury to start to do my inner work and to really look at who was this person, why did it happen to me. I really believe that there's no coincidence why I had a brain injury. I was not necessarily in alignment and in authenticity with myself, and the way I was living my life was not in harmony. And that was an invitation for me to kind of redirect, reassess, and reinvent myself. And through this process, I discover, as I said, art. I love writing. I write blogs for BIST and for other brain injury association. And I also share my journey since 2017. I've been sharing my journey on social media about the life of someone who had a brain injury. What does it look like? The ebbs and flows of this invisible injury that lots of people have, very little knowledge and very little understanding. So, as I said, I am starting my 10 years. And I can believe the change, the growth, the transformation that happened for me in this journey. And my desire is to be an advocate to this about this injury, and to also help and assist other people who are going into this process, because I felt very lonely and very isolated in this process, and I believe there's no need for that. I think it's my way of giving back to other people who have helped me. So if I could help and assist and support other people who are going through this process by my experience and the wisdom and knowledge that I have acquired over the last 9 years, I feel what it is. It's a very noble cause. So yeah, I had 3 pieces. I was very I was very surprised. I've never framed my artwork before, so co-creating with person that I choose to frame my artwork was a beautiful process, and I was very proud of what we have created. Like I felt like that the art piece came all together and gave like kind of a, I don't know, like another level of existence by framing them. So I hope that the people at the osteopathic clinic enjoy seeing my work, and also that it brings them some healing, because I really believe that art is healing, like was healing for me, but it also heal other people by looking at it and by being in the presence of beauty and different way of expressing ourselves. Thank you, Melissa, for giving me an opportunity to share my message.
Thank you, France. It's always lovely to have you.
Thank you.
And I think that your perspective is not unique, but I think that it's quite beautiful. And I think that, as we've talked about previously, your art tends to reflect some of your feelings and some of your process to getting where you are today.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's I see you as someone who is very, very bright, and someone who has experienced such immense growth at a time when it's very difficult to even just simply get your footing. And so I think that you're a very incredibly powerful woman in your own right. And thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Like, like as I said, like I just wish, like, in some ways, I wish I had like I have written, like, in my journal, but I, like, if someone was new in this journey, I will say document this, like film yourself, look at yourself, like, like just like looking back, even like, like since 2 years, I see the growth. I see so much possibilities, and also like the more I am, kind of like I'll say coloring outside the world, or the more I take chances, or I am being more brave or more audacious, I feel like, it's like I discover myself more and more. So that is for me, like, it's my main message. Like, don't let the brain injury define yourself, and let the brain injury kind of be there, but kind of in the background in some ways, because for so many years, the brain injury was at the forefront of my life. That was everything. Like, that was consuming my life, like, but at some point I understood, like, in my journey, that, like, I needed to look and to focus on what was going well, and what was my desire, what do I want, who do I want it to become, and how was I going to get there, like, which person was going to be able to assist me, like, so really invest in myself, and believe that not everything was possible. And my desire is, at some point in my life, like very shortly, I believe, being able to say, I had a brain injury and I closed the gap. And now I consider that, what, I'm almost there. Like, I consider that I overcome so much, and I don't want to kind of, be, I don't know, I will say identify, or have this, I will not say label, and I'm not sure exactly how to word it, like, to be politically correct, but, like, just, yeah, I just wanted to say it's an experience of the past who shaped me, like, grandly. And I'm so grateful for this adventure and for this invitation that life, like, assigned me, because I will not be who I am and where I am if I haven't had a brain injury. So I am very grateful. I'm not negating that. I just want to move forward.
Yes. And, you mentioned something that is, I think it's a challenging, thing to kind of come to terms with. But you mentioned the brain injury not being first and foremost, or in the front part of your being, of yourself. And I think it's so important for us to remember that, everyone here has brain injury, but we're still multifaceted people. I mean, we were everything that we were before. It may look different, it may sound different, it may feel different, but we're still kind of the same. And I think that, you know, afterward, it's important to figure out, like, find your footing, you know, and step into yourself as you are now. But then, you know, as you say, develop those parts of yourself that are truly yourself. And so that you can, as you say, move forward and just say, you know what, I had a brain injury, but it's not my identity necessarily. It's just part of my identity. It's part of who I am, like all of these other things. And I think it's such a beautiful way to look at ourselves, you know, especially after something that is so life-changing.
Yes, life altering. Absolutely. I always say, like, you know what, this is one dot in your life amongst all the other dots. So I think like now I am like starting to connect all the dots that I have accumulated in this journey. Like, again, my gift, I never paint before. I never like write, as you, I'm sure like you could hear. I'm not an anglophone. I am a francophone. So for me, like, to be able to write in English and to kind of merge the French and English in a more poetic way, like, you know, without even like trying to be like that, like, it came as a gift, as a, you know, as a ripple effect of having a brain injury. It took me many, many years to arrive where I am. However, I'm pretty certain that if I didn't have a brain injury, I will not be exactly where I am and exactly who I am right now. So I think this is where, like, sometimes I feel that, you know, especially at the beginning, we could be stuck like in a rut, like where, like, you know, like we are submerged by all the inability and the physical pain and the emotional pain. And at some point, like, you know, I feel it's a discovery process. It's kind of like, you know, like, let's discover who we are. Let's like, you know, explore, like, experience life in a different way, and just be curious and be like kind of open to see what we will find in this journey. And, you know, most of the time we'll be happily surprised.
Thank you so much, France.
You know.
It's always a pleasure talking to you. We'll have to connect.
And I was wondering, Melissa, at some point, are we going to be able to ask other people also who have like perform, or just, I just have a few questions.
Yes. So I'm going to be kind of moving into that now. I'm going to welcome people to unmute themselves. I'm going to be sending a little notification on your screen. If you wanted to unmute, you're free to. Just so that you know, for your own awareness, if you choose to unmute and speak, because this is being recorded, your image will appear on screen. So if you're not comfortable with that, I encourage you to write your question or your comment in the Q&A box, and that way you can maintain that confidentiality. When I do read out questions or comments, I don't use anyone's name. I do refer to them as a member. And so if that's something that is a concern for you, then feel free to do whatever makes you most comfortable. Let me just take a look. So I have, wow, I was a little bit behind. There's tons and tons. Beautiful. So a lot of people have really identified with a lot of what you were saying, France. There is a comment, I'm just going to read it out. Welcome, chance to speak briefly about a new art initiative. Hoping details will be on this store. Personality-based teas and swag. So somebody has an idea for our online store. I know a lot of you are aware of our Brainy Boutique. So I think that it would be really great to chat about some new ideas and concepts. As some of us know, there are a few newer programs at BIST. And so I wonder if there's ways to weave that in, especially art, because art is so incredible for all of us. And it's such a great activity to bring everybody together. I'm going to struggle through with unmuting people. And so just give me one moment. And as I'm doing this, just feel free to put your questions in the chat box, or as I unmute you, go ahead and If you do have any questions or comments for any of our presenting artists tonight, you can go ahead and ask away or speak with any of them. Here we go. Okay, I did it. Okay, so everybody should be unmuted now. France, you wanted to ask someone something?
Yes, I would like to know like about the two artists who presented before. Were they like, were they writing? Were they singing? Is this gift like came like post-concussion or post-brain injury? Just kind of curious, like, to see like, yeah, about others.
So that's for Hillary and Howard primarily.
Yes.
But I know that some of our other artists are here tonight
Oh, great.
who are not presenting, but they're still here. So even if you wanted to jump in and answer any of our questions or comment, then feel free. I'm not sure if Hillary is still with us. And Howard,
I am. I just
there
didn't
we go.
hear the question completely.
Hillary, I was just wondering, were you pre-concussion or pre-brain injury? Were you a writer? Like, were you an artist, or it's something that came after the injury?
So when I was a writer before brain injury. I write short stories, but after brain injury, I turned more to art. Like I hadn't written poetry before. So I really like transformed my writing that was more, I want to use the word like classical, or more like constructed, and I let it be more loose, and I let things rhyme and flow, and I put things that I didn't think belonged there, like listing colors and really leaning into the performance part. That became after brain injury. I think maybe because it was like easier to, or I leaned more into being able to describe like sensations, like sounds and what I could see, because it's so affected by brain injury. So that really changed my writing. And then I started sketching, and I was never someone who sketched before, but I was determined to try to heal, because my hands used to shake because of like side effects of brain injury. And I just thought one day, I was like, I'm sick of this. So I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try to draw a picture of my niece. And it took me 8 hours. I didn't even notice 8 hours went by, because I don't know, I was probably in a brain fog, but I was also so hyper focused and wanting to do something. And I really wanted to express something, and it turned out amazing. And then I started just sketching to help me get through each day, especially days where I felt like garbage and not wanting to get out of bed. It was, and like if I couldn't write because words could not come to me, I would just sketch over and over, sometimes the same sketch. I would just repeat it. And that, I don't think I would have that if it wasn't for brain injury. I wouldn't have all these new visual arts and more lyrical type of writing. It was a really good question. Thank you for asking that. It makes me think.
Thank you for sharing, Larry.
I think it's a great question. I mean, and it's interesting to see how brain injury affects that creative drive or that expressive drive. So I also want to say thank you for asking that, because it's a great question. If anyone else wants to answer any questions, like I said, I've sent everyone an invitation to unmute yourself. You can feel free to either speak, or you can put your question in the Q&A box.
Was the person who asked the question, is that Roxy or France?
France.
Would you be willing to answer the same question?
Oh,
Oh, okay. Yeah, as I mentioned, like I was not. I think that I've always been creative before, especially in my environment and also the way that I love clothing. But yes, I think that my writing started from a place of sorrow and despair. So when I started to write, it was really to put on the piece of paper how I was feeling because I felt that I had a hard time expressing my emotion and my message to my loved one. And even when I was doing it, it was not always well received or didn't have the effect that I was looking for. So that was for writing. And at some point in 2020, I reached out to different brain injury association, wondering if they would be interested to. I had started doing art exploration at the time, and I was wondering if they were interested to maybe give me an opportunity to share the process. And I went through as a therapeutic practice, and instead they offered me to write blog for them. So that this is how my words started to be out in the world outside of social media. And I started my art exploration, I would say maybe 2 years after I had the brain injury. I went to a gallery where there was where I started doing water watercolor printmaking, and that was again a very fascinating process. And they were very accommodating at the time. I had lots of the pain and limitation. It was very difficult, but they were like very great, giving me some times to rest in between the sessions. And I started, doing this like regularly, and it was really fascinating. I remember bringing my art pieces to my therapist, to my psychiatrist, and we will look at what I had created, and he was an artist himself, so he was able to kind of find a different meaning in my project, so which was really interesting. And in 2020, like during the pandemic, I started to renew with more exploration, and was never interested to learn something very concrete. For me, like when I paint or when I do like art exploration, it's to be out of my mind. It's really to connect with my emotion and with my heart, and to let my inspiration and intuition guide me. So I'm not interested kind of to kind of portray something that is realist. I'm more interested in abstract and also mixed media. So again, I don't think these gifts like would have like happened before. And as for speaking in front of people, it will never have happened before. I was so self-conscious, so shy, and many people will say that I was very snob. It's not that I was snob, it was that I just preferred to kind of look at people like because I didn't feel confident enough to speak up. So again, I have amazing dream, and like one of my dreams is to become a public paid speaker to give a message of hope and a message of resiliency that I learned through this process. So I think then using all this creative project or this creative idea that I have like discovered during my journey has been such a big highlight in my life, and I'm so happy that I could share it with the world to shed another light on what it is to have a brain injury, because I think there's a lot of stigma and there's a lot of preconceived idea about what it is to have a brain injury and who are these people who have brain injury. And I think then we are like all of us a great examples to say like brain injury come in various forms. It's expressed differently for everyone, and then we could still contribute into like our community and inspire other people who are going to similar journey or other people who are faced with adversity. Thank you for asking the question. I don't remember who asked the question, but thank you very much.
Actually, before I go on then, I'm going to go back to this slide. And just for anyone who has any kind of trouble with reading this piece, whether it be size or colors or background, I'm just going to read it quickly so people can hear it. This is called Invictus by William Ernest Henley. Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloodied out. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
Melissa, if I may, I had sent this to Mary. I went to an art exhibit, nothing like what has to do with brain injury, but there was this poster, and I think this is so true. If you could give me like just like a few seconds to read this, because I think
Absolutely.
so. It says, when you buy something from an artist, you're buying more than an object. You're buying hundreds of hours of errors and experimentation. You're buying years of frustration and moments of pure joy. You're not buying just one thing, but you're buying a piece of a heart, a piece of a soul, a small piece of someone else's life. I love this so much, because I think as an artist, it is sometimes difficult to choose how much we are going to charge for our creative project, and sometimes we undersell ourselves. And when I read that, it really touched me a lot.
Yes, that's so true. Actually, I was speaking with some artists that I know, and we were just talking about the concept of assigning a monetary value to a piece of art, and some of the challenges around that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's most difficult for an artist to assign a value to their work.
I think it comes also with wordiness. It
Mm-hmm.
has to do with this. Like, and when I remember having this conversation with the people who helped me to frame my artwork, and she was saying to me, there's someone who's going to be willing to pay the price, and you want to ask. So don't undersell yourself. That's what.
Yes. That's so important to hear. Yes.
And also, like, this is one of a kind. Even if you are going to do it again, you will never be able, like, if it's digital, yes, possibly, but if it's on a piece of paper, on a canvas, it's really difficult to really express the same thing twice. So it's one of a kind. So it has value.
I like how they talked about essentially the energy, to paraphrase, the energy that you put in, the emotion and the time that you put into your work. Because I think that also contributes to that second piece or attempt to recreate that piece being so very different. Because sometimes it's not, I mean, you can be an incredibly talented artist that's able to recreate the same brushstrokes for an entire painting, and I don't think it would be the same. And I wonder if, like that writer was mentioning, I wonder if some of that is simply because of that energy and that emotion that comes into your work. I don't think you can create the same feeling either, now that I'm thinking about it.
No, because you're not the same person. I'm not the same person that I was yesterday.
Yes.
And I think for me, what I consider is how much money, and time and energy I have invested in my healing. So this is also worth a lot of money. It has a value that is not, then you're not able to put a price on it. So when someone is buying one of our creation, is also buying, it's also kind of investing, in all the things that I've done in the past, and to arrive where I am right now. And for any artist, like, I feel like understanding that this is not a generic pieces. This is something like very, very unique.
Yes. I'm going to take a moment just for a second to read some of the comments in the chat box. Someone has written, utilizing art in your health and sharing with a practitioner. That could be a whole new avenue of expression and communication to link patients with their practitioners.
I love that a lot.
Yes. Another person has said, post office expressed thanks patients. Oops, sorry about that. Post office expressed thanks. Patients enjoyed the works, related, and indeed gave them hope of alternatives in their lives. As a professional digital artist, this is so true. So this is in regards to what we were just talking about. I do polymer clay projects too. They take hours of detail in dolls and figurines, from metal and tinfoil base to modeling and then painting. Clay is actually incredibly challenging to work with. And I feel an immense sense of envy with anyone who works with that medium. It takes quite some talent. So thank you for sharing that.
So, and Melissa, do you think that at some point I'm very grateful for June as the brain injury awareness, but when we have a brain injury, we have a brain injury 365 days a year.
Yes.
So, what could we do, just to kind of continue on this? Because again, I feel it's it's like mental health, like a day with Bell. So it's one day of awareness, and after that, it's over. Then we go to the next one. But I feel there's so many things. There's so many venue that needs to be covered in our journey. So how could we be more? I don't know. I would say more proactive. How could we engage with our community to share light about us, but also to share the inclusiveness. I feel what that is really needed.
Well, I apologize. There are some things I can't say yet, as usual. But I will say that I'm working on developing opportunities within BEST that do hit a lot of those main points that you're talking about. I have to be very careful how I talk because I'm not certain. I don't know what's happening yet. But it's, yes, exactly. But you bring up something really, really important. And I am, as I'm sure everyone else is, I am grateful that we have a Brain Injury Awareness Month.
Absolutely.
But it's really important to understand, just like every other month or day or celebration, that this is still, I mean, tomorrow, on the first, on Friday on the first, and on the second, and in August, we will still have that brain injury. And so I do think that it's very important that we continue to try to build community, to really start to look at our own role within this community. And again, without saying too much, and I apologize if I'm talking around, around circles and dodging corners, I apologize. But I am looking at ways that that members can actually begin to facilitate,
different initiative. Could I say that?
Yes. Yes.
I'm not aware of it, but I'm just I'm trying to help you, Melissa.
And I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I feel like I'm a bit on the spot. Yes. Yes. Some of the people who, I mean, I'll just kind of go a little bit left over here. But some of the people who attend our Friday program have heard a lot of talk about that space becoming eventually down the road a space where I'm simply just there to kind of facilitate, but eventually that being a space where members can come and share ideas, skills, activities, things like that. And also look at, where, like which direction people want to go in terms of, anything, any kind of initiatives, how do we access, connections and networking within outside agencies or organizations or community. And so there's a lot of change on the horizon, crossing your fingers. But I'm slowly edging. But yeah, we're getting a little bit each day,
Yeah, and I think Melissa, I don't want you like to not always talk for like people who are not necessarily taking the turn, but I feel like it's so important to like for people to see that there's possibility and there's there's hope and there's like something else that could open up for us.
yes.
So for me, this is all about this. Like it's all about like I wish I have met someone like me or someone like you or someone who was a little bit further in their journey, and so to be inspired, to give me hope, to give me like a maybe a light at the end of the tunnel and said, okay, at the end we're going to be okay. Everything's going to work out. And I know that we have heard that from friends and loved ones, but they haven't been in our shoes, so they haven't been to the same extent like of challenges and sorrow and grief. And yes, everyone of us like what might have different assignment or something like that, but I just feel like when it's your brain, it's very different. The brain is not like our arm or ankle or foot. It's just it's a computer.
Yes. Yeah. And it's essentially everything about you as you know yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's why it's so important to, and again, it's great to have support of, friends, family members, neighbors, etc. It's fabulous. But, you're right. The only person who kind of gets it, because brain injury is so different for everybody, the only people who do kind of get it are other people with brain injury. And I think the only way that you can inspire each other is by doing something tangible, something that you're not telling me, you're actually showing me. And I think that is what we really need. I think that there's space for support groups. I think there's space for planned out social activities, events, and groups like that. But I also think that there's more than enough room, and in fact, a bit of a need for opportunity for people with brain injury to be, again, sharing that skill that they have or the knowledge they have, because we are all in this entire community of BIST. We are all incredibly capable. We're all very talented, and we all have something to share. And I think that, creating a group like that is in itself very inspiring. Maybe people, can learn something new about themselves. I know that personally when I'm working with our community, I'm constantly learning new things. And so I think it's really important that we kind of move our focus to having those opportunities and seeing what we can create in terms of opportunity for members, But that's such a great point, France. It really is. Oh, I can't hear you.
I was saying, yeah, thank
There.
you. I was like, I was thinking, like, also, I think it's important for me to build bridges, like, between our reality and the outside world.
Yes.
So this is very, like, this is way of kind of, like, again, raising awareness, being an advocate for myself, but for other people also, like, who are going in this journey, who may have a different reality. and also to proving to myself, then I am like, I have so many things that I know that I have discovered, but how many other gifts are inside of me that I haven't discovered yet? So,
Yes.
and I am looking forward to discover like some of them as I experience life. And I want to experience life at this time more and more on the outside, like being like much more involved in my community, experiencing life, like, as I would say, like, as a normal person, you know,
Yeah.
because like as one of my friends said, like, for so long, I think we were all deprived of richness of life. And as we get better, we want to kind of like seize the day and really like, embrace life and really kind of give it a try.
Yes. What I will say is we will connect.
Thank you. I have many project. I have like, like this brain of mine, like now is kind of like on fire. So many things like, like again, I think, and it's also like collaborating. I feel like, the power of getting together, either with people who have brain injury or people who don't have brain injury, but the power of the mastermind when we come together to create something is very unique and extremely powerful.
Yes. Oops. Oh no. Sorry about that. I'm just yelling at my computer. Oh goodness. Okay, so this is where I'm just going to interrupt for one moment. This is where everything normally goes downhill. So I'm going to cross my fingers that this works. I have some backup if needed, but I'm going to ask everyone to just thumbs up or thumbs down if you can hear it or not. Uh-oh. So this is a tour of, some of you are familiar with Boulders. It's a rock climbing, an adapted rock climbing organization that BIST works with. So this is some of the art that's on display at Boulders. I have yet to go there. I'm afraid of heights, but maybe one day. And this is what I was talking about. There's so much incredible, incredible art. So please do, if you can, please do go out and check them out. Uh-oh, this is where it goes down again.
So maybe for the future, like Melissa, a suggestion, maybe could have a tour. So another year, like, next year or in 2 years, like let's have a tour, like, different days we are touring different places if they're close by, and we could meet maybe the artists or something like that.
That's actually a really fabulous idea. And I think off the top of my head, because I also overstretch myself all the time, I think that's something that is very much doable.
I think so.
I mean, like if we're in a month, let's say, and maybe we have, weekly, visits, or something like that, then, who knows, maybe we could figure that out.
Yeah, that I will be happy to help with that, because I think again, like it's just, and even also like having maybe like at the, if it's an office or like a coffee shop, like maybe I don't know, meeting with the artist, like, and reality of being like not a brain injury. I don't really like the word survivor. I love the word bloomer, brain injury bloomer, because we're all blooming in this journey.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, that's something that we could probably look forward. I mean, I was just thinking about the those meetups. I was just thinking about something like that, where even if we put it in our newsletter, like on this day at this time, you're welcome to meet at this location and, explore you know, the different venues. I think that's a fabulous idea, France. France is on fire today.
I see then Graham as is
Oh, is there a hand up? Where are we here? If you want to talk, go ahead and let me just make sure. Yeah, if you want to talk, just go ahead and
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I don't know what the audience composition is, but for anyone who is looking at this but does not do art and thinks, well, I could never do anything like what I'm seeing. 2 points. One, most of us as children avidly colored, painted. It could be finger painting. It was something. And it was always both enjoyable to do and to share. And then somewhere along the way, an adult, possibly someone we respect, turns around and says, well, that's not any good. And then that person stops. It's very soul crushing. And I just want people here that aren't aware of it, whether you have a brain injury or not, that the creativity that is being expressed through song, through poetry, through the art that you're seeing presented, anyone can do it. And it is going to be different, one person to another. But the only way you can do it is by doing it. And secondly, if you do have a brain injury, I can work, and there are some examples of things I've done, maybe for an hour or two a day. Son of a gun, some days I skip, other days maybe I get a line or two down on something. And pardon me, one of my pieces took 44,111 brush strokes. Well, that started with a single stroke. And all I'm telling you is the only way you will never do art is if you tell yourself you can't and you don't. And I'm hoping that message rings joyfully, loudly, and clearly tonight.
Thank you so much, Graham. I mean, that didn't come out as sincerely as I even mean it. It reminds me of what France and I were talking about earlier in terms of people being inspiring. And what you said is exactly what I was referring to, where, you know, somebody like you who is a fabulous artist.
Thank you.
You really are. I have to digress for a moment and just tell you that. You know, and having somebody like you who is walking the same kind of path as a lot of our members are, and, you know, able to not only develop such a fabulous artistic talent, but also to be able to inspire other people and to encourage other people. And just, you know, I think, I'm not certain if this is what you were saying, but I think what I heard most poignantly was, you know, art is just a process, you know, and you start it and you just go with it. as opposed to, this is the image I have in my mind. This is what I want to put on the paper. And I can't do that. That's not something that I can do. Whereas if you, reverse that and just simply, like you were saying, like, you start with one brush stroke, and after thousands and thousands of brush strokes, that whatever you've created is in fact art and beautiful.
Although try not to use permanent markers and do those thousands of brush strokes on a bare wall.
I think that's sound advice.
I was going to say you may find yourself in divorce court.
Well, we don't want that, right?
No, you want to try and do it in a safe way. But seriously, the repeated message, but the best message is that when you're in that art process, you forget about anything and everything. It's some sort of an emotional anesthetic, and all of the grieving, all of the moaning of things, I'll bet you if we talk to Hillary and to our own Bist Beatle cover band who sang tonight, and I don't get serenaded half as much as I should hearing you. I know that when they are doing that, they are taken to just a better place. And ultimately, we need to be able to do that for ourselves, because many people who are in our lives and busy don't seem to have the time. So, you know what? Son of a gun, together we're going to continue to do this. But by all means, just start. Oh, forgive me. But I encourage you all, and I'm hoping down the pike that there'll be an opportunity or a way to be able to help with Q&A and being able to even do tutorials. I want to learn from France how to do a multimedia abstract collage, and maybe I can share something to others. So I really love this aspect of this community, and I'm so grateful to the team that's put this on for us.
Thank you, Grant. Sorry, goodness, my apologies, Graham. So I'm going to say this, but I don't want to get anybody's hopes up. So I'm waiting because because of the pandemic, I think a lot of nonprofits have been really hit hard financially. But I am looking forward in the future to actually having, possibly even just a monthly open art environment. I don't know what it's going to look like yet. I have no plans on paper, but it would be very much like that, where you would have a France, or you would have a Graham coming in, and I just kind of be, got any brushes you need washed, or just joining in, because it's really great to just spend time with everyone, and having a space where you're just in that process, and you're painting and you're talking and you're enjoying each other. That's kind of my my longer term goal, because I do think that art is so incredibly important. For personally, I believe anyone. I think that art is it's incredibly versatile, whether it's for development, for healing, for creativity, for expression, for communication. There's so much room for art. So that's something that I'm hoping for. So everybody just keep your fingers crossed, don't let it go.
I will say keep talking about it, Melissa, because I really believe that what we want wants us. So, keep talking about it because the how is not of your business.
And that's what you were talking about before with manifestation, correct?
Absolutely. Like,
yes, I remember that.
Yeah, this dream of me, like, of having art, like, like being part of an art exhibit, like one of my wildest dream. I don't know how I will get there, but my wildest dream is to have my art exhibit in various, continents. And I see myself like 2-3 years ago, 4 years ago, I said to one of my friends, at some point I'm going to have an art exhibit in New York City. I don't know how, I don't know when, but this is not of my business. But I have this desire inside of me. So if I have this desire inside of me, I know it's possible. So you never know. Like, it could be in a small gallery, it could be in a restaurant. I have no idea. Neither did I knew that I was going to be have like some of my artwork display in Toronto and also be able to have to participate in this art exhibit. And I think everything is possible. So let's dream big.
Yeah.
Let's put our collective energy also in all of these dreams. So holding space, and we never know, a friend of a friend or someone hear us, talking about a project. So that's why for me, I always talk about my wildest dream. And sometimes I wonder, do I have the capacity or, the confidence or the audacity to bring my dream forwards? But I said, it's not, it's something who is stronger in me than the limitation of my mind.
And thank you for that reminder. Actually, I think it's something that I'm also, trying to learn how to do. It's like, that letting go, and just, I guess living as though you already have something, and then it being attracted to you.
Thinking by the not thinking, looking at the end of the project and seeing, I again, an acorn will never doubt, and at some point is going to be an oak tree. So
yes, that's true.
So I feel we have doubt, and it's normal to kind of be uneasy about some of our projects because we are looking sometimes to realize the 12 step when we haven't even started at the first one. So everything takes time. There's a gestation period. There's different things that could happen. So there's a rhythm of life. There's nothing that happened by chance. I don't believe in chance. I believe in harmony, and the universe has order and laws. So if you are able to align with the laws and the order, everything will happen.
Yes. Thank you for that. See, inspired, right? we're gonna try again, fingers crossed. I'm just gonna play another video. This is actually another one of our venues. And this venue actually approached us. And it is a incredible store that's been in Toronto, in Cabbagetown forever. And I'm personally very familiar with it. But here's some of the art that they have on display on Parliament Street. There we go. My apologies. I think that video, really hit home how incredibly talented our artists are. It's just such a wide variety of medias, and such beautiful expression, as well as a variety of different types of art. And we do actually have someone who will be sharing some words with us this evening, but they've chosen to record it, superimposed on their artwork. So I'm going to play that now, and so far so good with audio, so we're going to move right on. So this is a piece by Roxy.
By the way, Melissa, you may be hearing the audio in various segments, but I just messaged you. Certainly it isn't coming through here. And I think there are a couple of technical issues that would help in future meetings like this. Whether it's the internet connection that's being used by you to connect out for this session, whether it's the computer that is being used, the combination of audio and video seems to be overloading, and at some point it isn't necessarily broadcasting. So
Okay, so let me just try again. And then if there's an issue, just let me know, okay? Let's try this.
And I'm only saying
Okay,
that because
so I'm hearing that it's not working. Jillian?
Yes.
I'm wondering if you can try on your end, because mine is not working. It's that last one. See, we can't have a smooth one.
No, there always has to be a bump in the road. Okay.
That's it. And this is actually, just while we're waiting for it to come up, this is actually a really beautiful spoken word piece by Roxy. And so I do want everyone to hear it. And luckily earlier we did plan a little bit ahead and have everything loaded up just in case. So cross your fingers, everyone. Maybe I got a little bit too there we go. Maybe I got a little too confident.
showcasing at the Best Paint Night event. Everyone was instructed to paint constructs of winter cabins under the aurora borealis on the foundation of snow-covered land. I seemingly processed slower, felt resistance and frustration, yet I persisted and manifested what I could, never minding how behind I was. A Southeast Asian tropical sea under a European night sky with the same Canadian northern lights appeared to me on my canvas.
Kuya, pagod na ako. Pwede na tayo magpahinga.
Lapit na tayo. Konti na lang ng bilis.
Sumasakit na ako.
The skull ripped out
Kaya nagutom talaga.
of my sketchbook
Magkano tayo ng lugar?
and brains tacked on later.
Okay, so Jillian, when you mute yourself, it actually mutes the
Saxon,
Maghahanap ako ng isda. Alam mo,
cultural
gusto mo maging
concept,
mandarito. Dapat
meaning
makapasok ako.
something akin to fate, a personal destiny to come to pass, to become, and developed into an adjective in the 15th century, eventually evolving into the modern English word weird.
Kay sa kakabsat, dito'y Cordillera. Usisiti ang
We all live weird.
magandang yaman ni
I am the ghost in the shell, invisibly present to the unfolding and folding of my life, while my brain's neural networks are taking it in and rewiring.
As the second generation of a DS4, my name's written and I heard my calling. This Warcraft, rain dance, and demons trap. Had a fork for the head, strike drum.
This creation represents my transcultural identity, transnational awareness, and mindfulness of 7 generations back and forth. In this present moment, the waters represent my connection to the ancient and traditional depths of my matrilineal origins, connected to the global south, southern Philippines archipelago.
So sincere, unapologetic, I mean what I say, what the fuck you offended. People of a nation, rap on fashion, beneficial,
The northern lights represent the cosmos of the new world, global north, Canada. The spirit's not forgotten, floating in the dark sky. The middle sky represents the midpoint of the classical old world. Europe, Germany. The pile of stacked brains rooted to the water simultaneously represents my inherited ancestral knowledge with corresponding intergenerational trauma. I am the future realization of my ancestral line. In the foreground, I am present in the intelligence of my bones. Regardless of my brain, I carry my ancestry. Always connected to the unfolding of fate.
Kuya, pagod na ako. Pwede na tayo magpahinga.
Lapit na tayo. Konti na lang ng bilis.
Sumasakit na ang paa ko. Kuya, nagagutom din ako.
Sige na nga. Maghanap tayo ng lugar. Pwede ba?
Weird.
Tara.
Sige, kuya.
Rewiring. Weird.
Hey, thank you. And thank you, Jillian, for stepping up there. There's always something, it was the very last one. So I apologize, everyone. At this time, I just want to take a moment to thank our corporate sponsors, the PIA. Without their support, the work that we do would not be possible. Even events like this, we would not be able to do. Also, I want to thank all of our talented artists, our dedicated staff and students that made this year's art show a huge success. There are so many moving parts to putting things like this together. And there was a lot of hard work, that was shared by all of our staff, our students who are in person, and also students who are working remotely, like Jillian is today, coming in on a day off to help support the art show closing ceremony. So I want to say a very special thank you to Jillian. I've loved working with you, and I'm not looking forward to seeing you off. So we're not even going to talk about that yet. But I do want to say thank you. And you were obviously very appreciated tonight. Again, I want to really encourage you all to, if you can, get out to some of these venues and take a look at the art that's on display. It really does look completely different in person. And so if it's moved you in a virtual space, it would surely touch you in person. I also want to thank all of you for spending this evening with us. It's always a pleasure spending time with all of our BIST members. I truly do love my job because of the work I get to do with you all. And so any time that I get to spend is honestly greatly appreciated. And I hope you all feel the same way. Also, I want to say good night, and I will see you at our next in-person event, our picnic in High Park at the end of July. So I hope to see all of you there, all your smiling faces. And yeah, so until next community meeting in Hyde Park with lots of food.
Thank you, Melissa. Is the art work are going to stay there like until next week, or when are they going to be removed? Do we know?
It will be until the end of next week.
Until
Yes, we're going to be all of that. The Textile Museum is actually having their event tonight, so we're kind of doing a little bit in tandem, and that's where Mary is. So Mary is over in the Textile Museum representing BIST, and some of our artists have also been invited out that are showing their art at the museum.
Nice, wonderful. Thank you so much.